Yeah.
Could have easily lied about it because there was no like concrete proof.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Mental Uplift podcast. I'm your host, Joey.
And I'm your host, Brittany.
And today we are coming to you guys to talk about the importance of religion and how it affects your mental health. And we're just let's talk about it.
That's right in. So, what is religion to you, and how does it play a role into your mental health?
Mm-hmm. So, for me, ultimately, it's the belief in something higher than, yourself, which in our case is, the one and only God, which is somebody that, we believe in full-heartedly. I feel like religion takes faith, and it's something that you can't see, but it's just something that, you faithfully dive into every day of your life. And I feel like for me, it plays a huge role in my mental health because one of the things I like to do the most is pray.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like prayer is strong and it's very important, and it gets me through good times, hard times, confusing times. Like no matter what I'm going through, prayer is my go-to in my head. So I feel like that's why it plays a huge role, and that's something that we definitely will talk about. For you, how does it help you?
For me, to piggyback off of like what we follow, it is Christianity. But I know when people hear the term religion, it can be kind of intimidating. So for me, it's that relationship with Christ. And obviously that relationship with God. I just wanted to note that because sometimes people see like, oh, they're Christian, so they follow this, this, and this. But really, what helps me is my relationship with Christ, whether that means you like identify as a Christian or was like a Pentecostal, like there's so many different denominations.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to make sure I said the right word. But for me, having my relationship with Christ helps me day in and day out because, like you said, when you feel uncertain or when you feel like just confused or lost, you pray and God gives you that guidance. Like He gives you what you need to move forward, and it definitely helps my mental health. Like being someone who suffers with anxiety, I feel like I can pray and I can like ask God, like, help me through this, not take it away, because remember, you can't take away the anxiety, but I can pray my way into a more calm state, ask for a sound mind. And I feel like it really helps me with someone who struggles with anxiety and just like day-to-day struggles, like prayer.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like one of my biggest prayers is asking for guidance.
Yeah.
And I feel like during a stormy time, guidance is like one of the big things that comes to my head, and I pray for it over and over. And it's like, I feel like prayer itself is kind of misunderstood sometimes because I feel like when people hear that, you have to pray, they think prayer is something like, you have to go to church to pray or something like that, or you have to be on your knees and open a Bible every single time.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes the best prayer, like I guess sessions, or for me, I call it just conversations with the Lord. The best conversations are when they're unexpected in the most random places.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, when I'm laying in bed the most, even like when I wake up, I'll be like half asleep and I'm sitting there with my eyes closed. I'm just like, all right, Lord, let's get through today and stuff. Or like if I'm in the shower, I'll sit there and I'll just have like a conversation. And that's my form of prayer that I feel most comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like I sit there, and there are times where I get on my knees and stuff too. Like however you feel comfortable in that moment, speaking to Jesus is like, that's what it is. So it's like, prayer could be like, there's some times where I may be going through a hard situation. I'll just sit there and I'm like, oh, I need guidance. I don't know what to do. I need guidance. Like, and I'll sit there and I'll talk like if I'm talking to any person, because like, that's my most comfortable state. That's my most vulnerable state right there. So I feel like when I do that, that's what truly helps me. And a lot of times you may not see it right away, but then you get help. And when you're out of the storm, then I look back and I'm like, Wow.
Yeah.
That was Jesus.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful thing, especially like, and to go back to what you were saying, like prayer, a lot of people think it has to be like a formal way. And like when I grew up, I used to think it had to be like, Dear Heavenly Father. And this is this. And I would be scared, but like sometimes I have to pray and I have to say like, bro, like obviously we had to surrender and respect, our, God, our leader. That looks different to everyone, but honestly, what gets me through hard times, like mentally, it's just that conversation. Like literally, it sounds like how you and I are having a conversation. For me, it's like and sometimes it may feel like one-sided, but when I say he hears you, he hears you. Like you said, you'll get answered through someone. Like I remember praying about a situation and a friend saying like, hey, I don't know what you're going through, but you're going to get out of it. And like God uses other people to speak to you. And so, yeah, definitely like praying with however you feel comfortable. Like for me, it's in the shower. I'm like, God, I'm so tired. I'm so stressed and I don't know what to do. Or I found myself like during maternity leave, like I feel like for moms, like it hits so hard when you have to go back, and dads too, like it hits so hard when you have to go back. You're like, do I want to do this job? Is this the occupation for me? Because you have so many weeks off and you start to think and get in your head about everything. Yeah. But honestly, it just sounds like just a conversation. And I feel like when you have those conversations and you're vocal about what you're going through, that honestly is what helps the most.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
That surrender.
I feel like too, it's like, when you, like you said, the word surrender, when you surrender and when you give and do what you are called to do, it gives you a boost and positivity. Yeah. And especially when you see your like prayers being answered, then it's like you're really on another level. So like I'll share an experience I've had. Yeah. So in 2021, I was fired from Home Depot. And it was stupid. Basically, what happened, somebody was coming at me, trying to ask me where I stayed and stuff. They got mad because I caught them trying to steal. And I told them, like, I basically kind of threatened them with, like, my gun, kind of, I guess. So that was something stupid of me to say. I'm not proud of it. But I did, respond back in a violent kind of way. And they got spooked by that. Then they told on me and stuff. But going into it, that's when we definitely were a lot into church. So I told myself, I'm going to own up. I'm going to acknowledge what I did. I'm going to trust in God. I'm going to follow myself with faith. So they came to me, they asked me if I said it. And I said, yep, that's exactly what I said.
And didn't, like your, like leaders at the time or like management said, like they gave subliminal messages, like you didn't have to say, like they could have easily lied about it because there was no like concrete proof. So
they really, everything kind of went based off of what I was telling them, and I told them 100% that's what I said. I chose to live up to what I said, and I felt like that's what I was called to do in that moment. To own up to what I did and follow whatever consequences may come. So, I had just gotten fired. I'm going to have my first kid in a month. I was super scared. I remember calling Brittany, crying in the parking lot, telling her that I just lost my job. But in that whole time, even when I was sad, I remained faithful, stood by the decision that I made because I felt like it was right. I felt like it's what I had to do. Yeah. And then, like, once I started seeing the answers, everything kind of just like, wow, like, I'm so glad that I chose to do what I thought was right. Because it was like probably, a month later, I already had gotten the job working for CVS, working from home. I got paid like $4 more than I was making at Home Depot.
It was like a test, like God tested you and was like, I'm going to give you this situation. And if you do right by me, which is honoring the truth, you got blessed. Like, and more, you got more than what you had. We were able to be home together with our newborn. Like, I remember that. And like, you were getting paid to be home. Like, you were working, of course. Like, working from home is a lot, but that was like the perfect time.
Everything kind of fell into place perfectly. It couldn't be better.
And that was such a crucial time where we needed a job. And remember something that mentioned too, you had like 7 or 8 weeks paternity leave mapped out. And so one of the biggest things was like, yes, he lost his job, but it was deeper than just losing your job, right? Because You could have collected unemployment until you got a job. But in this case, it was like he worked my whole pregnancy. Like, you had the leave set out for you, paid at that. And it was like, wow. But how good is God that you got that work from home job and you were getting paid $4 more and you were still home? Like, I remember, you were home. Yeah. You were in the house and you were training, but you were still home. Yeah. Obviously there's certain things you have to navigate, but we were home. You were still with us. So
now 3 years later, and that's still where I'm at, striving in the position.
You've grown multiple positions, and it's like God will give you what you need, and he'll double it. He'll triple it. Like, he'll give you so much more. And because we work from home, it's such an amazing thing, just especially with younger kids. So I know for me, another personal experience around the time that we were having our first child, we lived in an apartment for a year together. And we were like, it's time to get into a bigger space. And I remember we were looking for places and they were too expensive, or it just didn't, it was the same price as a house. So long story short, I was in the car with my mom. We saw the house that we used to live in and we were like, oh wow, let's call. And I think we saw the house the very same day, if not the next day, applied for it, got approved within a couple of days. Mm-hmm. Mind you, we didn't know I was pregnant. So we were just and in the midst of that, we were looking for a home church because this happened prior to us, like I said, knowing we were pregnant. And we started going to City Reach, our church, at the main campus at that time. And the craziest part to me was we started that church in December. We ended up moving out of our apartment and not renewing our lease. And we moved in around February, end of February. Yeah. And so that house was 3 minutes from main campus. But the good part, the big significant thing about that is just the fact that when God has a plan for you, he has a plan for you. We were looking at different places and feeling we're going to have to renew our lease here. We want our family to grow. We knew it wasn't going to be big enough. Yeah. But we were we're going to have to renew it. But we ended up just praying. And I remember I have a journal and I wrote down God, we're trying to grow our family. At that point, we were planning already to have our kid. We didn't know she was already baking in the oven. So we ended up moving into that house. And I think that first week we lived there, I took a pregnancy test and it was today we were bro, we just moved here. Yeah. And it was perfect because I said, our home church was 3 minutes away. We used to go to 1 p.m. You wake up at 12 o'clock, 12:30, on bad days, or we were up the night before. So God will definitely line everything up for you the way it needs to be. So yeah, just that trust again.
Definitely. I feel it really does play a role overall because, the happier you are with the things going on in your life, the easier it is to navigate any little, mental health, situation that may come up that, because obviously no matter how happy you are, things come up and your current state really determines how you can handle what comes to you.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're constantly being faithful, you're constantly having something to put your all into and feeling happy and confident about it, then that keeps you going. Yeah. And if something small comes your way, you can handle it better because you're currently strong, you're confident. And I feel that's what religion gives me. When I'm all in, it gives me so much happiness, so much confidence, so much, strength. So it's little things that come my way during that time, I'm strong already. I'm nah.
Exactly.
Yeah, not today.
Brother.
Not today, Satan.
Yep.
Keep it pushing. But in moments where I was far from church, those situations would come to me. It might be the same. It could have been the same situation when I'm in church, when I'm outside the church, and I'm going to handle it 2 different ways because I don't have the confidence that, my religion gives me and my comfort with the Lord gives me.
Like you said, you handle things differently when, you have such guidance from the one who made you. Because for me, and I know we all heard WWJD, what would Jesus do? Yeah. But when you handle things with grace, patience, wisdom, kindness, and things that are, I guess you could say what you normally wouldn't refer to, it changes everything. Yeah. It changes your life being that person that's being more like Jesus. And it also changes the person that you are encountering and talking and speaking with. And so, I just think overall, when you believe and you have that faith, it changes everything. It changes your mindset, the way you, like you said, like handle big situations. Like, I don't know that I would have made it out of my postpartum period, like after having our first baby. I don't know that I would have made it out of that. Like, I say that with such seriousness. Like, I don't know what I would have done without Jesus, without that faith and reading my Bible. Like, I have a video in my phone where I recorded myself, like, when I was, like, down really bad. And I look back on it and I'm like, all by the grace of God. Because if I didn't have him, I don't think we would be where we are today. When I say I would not be here, I would not be here if it weren't for him, because I've had really hard postpartum periods. Like, well, my second, thankfully, was amazing. But if you compare the first and the second, the main difference was I feel like I'm rooted with that relationship. I'm stronger because of my relationship with God. So,
yeah.
And
one of the things that just came to my mind too as well is like, if you don't have something that you're pouring into as far as religion and stuff, then it's like, and I don't want to be rude or anything, but like the genuine question that comes to my head is like what do you believe in? Like what does get you through?
Yeah.
Because like you said, for us, without this, we don't know how we would have been here today.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that really made me think, like, what do people look into? And especially it's because, like, sometimes for me, before I was very into, religion, I would look to people to give me the support, the reassurance that I was looking for. But one of the things that I've learned is that a human will always fail you no matter what. They're not built to take on the weight of everyone. And sometimes people try to, and that's when they fail people, because they're trying to do too much. So if you put all of your weight onto a specific person, you're going to be failed. And it hurts, because that may be somebody that you love dearly. But if they hurt you, you just have to choose to, love them, because sometimes, you may be putting them at too high of a standard, because, no one is perfect and no one can help you as much as you may need to be helped. And that's where, for me, I feel like my religion comes into play, because, it's something that I still work on day to day, because I feel like for you, sometimes I try to lean on you a little bit too much than I should sometimes. And I really try to work on that, because I know that's not easy for you. And, if it's not easy for any of us. So I really try to stay focused and kind of, lean on my Father, who I'm supposed to be leaning on, because he's the one who is built to take on everything that I need him to.
And so having that relationship with Christ, again, it allows me to put all of that heaviness on him, because ultimately that's what he wants us to do. And like you mentioned, sometimes, like you taught me this actually, when you give someone this, like when you set this high expectation for someone, or expectations in general, that allows room for disappointment. And I remember me going to you like about multiple situations, like, why would this person do this? Like, I'm doing this, but why does it always feel one-sided? Like, that was something I struggled with a lot. And that's big to admit, because sometimes I've always felt like, well, I'm doing all of this and I'm always there for this person, but I never get that reciprocated. And again, you taught me that expectation you have to let go of. And so I started to lean in, like, of course, to my husband, but putting more of that confusion, like that feeling of disappointment, and just leaning on him. Because like you said, like, I would do it a lot, like, because naturally the type of person I am, like, I like to give, like, I like to, even if it's like little gifts, a little basket.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on my baskets, but like you feel, or like just being there for someone, you kind of like feel naturally like, oh, well, that, like, why did they return that? But you don't do it to get that return. But I remember feeling like I did set high expectations for people who I shouldn't have, set any expectation on. And I know that when you do surrender and you do give those expectations to God, like he's going to give to you, like I said, like abundantly. He will care for his people. Like,
yeah,
we have so many stories because we could go on for like hours and hours, like about what he's done when giving that surrender. So
yeah, I feel like overall, just to sum up our life in regards to that, I feel like all of the good things happen after we started to surrender our life.
Yeah, and lean on him.
Yeah, I feel like, so many things, our home, our family, our marriage, like our cars, like, it's not to be boastful. We don't have the most luxurious stuff.
Yeah.
But we have everything we need here. And it all started when we started to give our life to God. And, it's just...
like that saying. Yeah, it's like saying, like that saying where I remember where I prayed for what I have now. And that is so significant because I remember when we first got together almost 6 years ago. Yeah. Wow. Like we talk about, our kids, where we're going to live together. When are we going to buy our first home? And like we bought our first home at like 24 and 23. And like we got married before that. And it's just like that surrender. And like overall, like just to go back to the whole purpose of this video is like the role that relationship plays in your life is like it's so significant, and you really start to see it. Like you plant the seed, right? You plant the seed, and then it takes the faith of a mustard seed, and you just see it flourish. You see it grow, and you like you said, everything we have now is solely because we gave ourselves to him. I just want to say, you were made perfectly imperfect for a reason. Everything that you have endured in life is God's way of bringing you closer to him. And I promise you, everything that I've gone through has helped another person, if not multiple people. So never think for 1 second that, I'm going through this just for no reason. And my life is just, it sucks for no reason. I promise you, a lot of the pain that I've endured, I've been able to share that story and that testimony, and I got goosebumps. And that's brought people, that my very story has brought people closer to Christ. And those people like can tell you like they were in a similar place as we were, marriage wise, friendship wise, relationship wise. And so if you're watching this, there's nothing that you may have done that God isn't ready to like that God won't forgive you for, right? Like anything you've done, you have a clean slate once you surrender it to him. And that changes everything. That changes everything. Like, it's just such a warm embrace to feel like I've messed up and to be able to admit I have messed up. Like we talked about in church today, like sometimes you can be the offender and not always the victim. And like people hurt people. We're not perfect. And if that's you, I promise if you just surrender it, you just pray and you ask God, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I just need guidance. I just want to know where to go. That's going to change your whole life. And that's what ultimately keeps me grounded and keeps my mental health.
Your mental health chart.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt because I feel like, again, like, when I don't pray, when I listen to secular music, when I'm getting too worldly, because I fall short.
We're human.
When I go on that meter and I'm not close to Jesus, I'm at a 0. Like, I'm a visual person. So those watching, I have, the meter. When I'm without Jesus, low on the meter. When I'm with Jesus, I'm like ready to conquer everything.
Yeah, and that's it.
See, what are we doing?
And that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, when you're high on that meter because you're such a high on life, you're high on Jesus. Anything that comes your way is like, get out of here.
Ammunition.
Got you.
Ammunition. Yeah. Just like Pastora Samantha said it. Like, she's obviously we go to City Reach if we didn't already say that. Amazing word that we received. When you get those tests, the enemy trying to creep in, it's ammunition. Like, I'm going to use that to keep going. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, I truly enjoyed this conversation today. It was amazing. I really hope that you guys enjoy as well, and that you're able to take, a part of this with you every day. I feel like overall, the biggest message to take is that when you ground yourself into Jesus, you know, it can open up so many doors. It can totally change your life around and help you walk day to day with happiness and joy, and it'll help you fight any challenge that comes your way. So that, you know, that's all that you can take from it, and hope that you take it with you. I hope that it helps you. You know, I'm super happy to be doing this here and speaking this to you guys. I hope that you guys are able to take this and, you know, enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've already heard, and thank you to those who have reached out and said that they've watched our video and they have already noticed a change or that they took away something. Like, that's all that our goal is to reach. If it was to reach one person, and I've heard some great feedback. So if there's any other feedback you're willing to provide, definitely let us know. You can DM us on TikTok, Instagram, you know, just let us know. If you have our phone numbers directly, let us know what we can do, and you know, just leave comments and ways we can improve, and different topics that we always mention. We're here for you, and you are so loved and you are so amazing, and we just pray that this message, just you receive this message and you're able to just apply it to your life. And as always, like, we're here, you know, and we can't wait to keep providing for you guys, like giving you good word and like what's helped us get to where we are. And again, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and just be on the lookout for multiple different posts from us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We thank you so much for watching. We hope you have an amazing rest of your day and amazing week.
Bye.